Welcome to the Real Turf Techs podcast for the technician that wants to get real. Follow along as we talk to industry professionals and address hot topics that we all face. Along the way, we'll learn tips and tricks. I'm your host, Trent Manning. Let's have some fun. This episode of Real Turf Techs on Golf Course Industries Superintendent Radio Network is presented by Foley Company, a strong supporter of equipment technicians and golf course maintenance departments everywhere. Foley Company offers a proven solution for above and below the turf for turf professionals everywhere. To learn more about Foley Company's line of reel grinders, bed knife grinders, and the Air 2 G2 family of products, or to find a distributor, visit www.foleyco.com. Foley, ready for play. Welcome to the Real Turf Techs podcast, episode 133. Today we're talking to Alex Tessman, equipment manager at Bandon Dunes Sheep Ranch Golf Course in Bandon, Oregon. Sheep Ranch is a public 18-hole championship course. Bandon Dune Resort has 7 courses and a total of 9 techs. They're primarily all Toro equipment. Let's talk to Alex. Welcome, Alex, to the Real Turf Techs podcast. Thanks for coming on. How you doing?
Trent, things are good. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. It's the fall of the year, and it's my favorite time, along with probably a lot of other equipment managers.
Yeah, finally slowing down.
Yep, that's what it's all about. Tell us how you got into the turf industry.
Well, there was a high school teacher that was a pretty big impression on me, and he was trying to line me out with a job, and he told me, call this guy and he'll line you up. I didn't know who this guy was. I didn't know what the job was. I didn't know anything about it. But all I did was I called him every other day, which come to find out he was on vacation for 2 weeks. So I blew
his phone up.
His phone a little bit. And he calls me back and says, like, hey, I'm in charge of the Rangers, and, we usually kind of keep that for the retired guys. Let me put you in touch with agronomy. You seem like you could be a workhorse for another guy I know.
Okay.
So he put me in touch with Jeff Sutherland at Pacific Dunes. And so on the same day of getting my license, starting college, and getting a job, I all of a sudden found myself raking bunkers on a golf course I didn't even know existed.
Nice. And never played golf before or any of that stuff?
Yep. Nope. Not then, not really.
That's okay. That's all right.
Yep.
A lot of us that don't play.
No. I'll go play with the old man, because you only get so much time with your old man, but...
Not great point. Yeah.
That's about it.
For the listeners, don't forget that.
Yeah.
Because life's short, for sure.
Absolutely.
So how did you end up in the shop turning wrenches?
Well, we were doing a big renovation on trails where they tore up all of the sod on one of, I think what I was working on was 18. In little squares, we had to lift that up one piece at a time, move it off, reshape, and put it back. Well, that really kind of sucked. That was not a fun time. And so I was already kind of looking for a different career path. I didn't really think this would be my sort of jam. And, then it started to be like, hey, why don't we get you in the shop? Because you seem like you could kind of manage yourself and do your own thing. And I think they saw a different side of me that wasn't really greenskeeper agronomy worthy. Mm-hmm. And someone saw the talent in me, and namely Scott Huntley kind of put me in the shop. And next thing you know, a position opened, and I was just kind of the next shoe in because I was already in there assisting.
Okay, so you assisted another technician for how long?
Yeah, just kind of went in the afternoon, helping him, whatever he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Just whatever he needed. But that's how I kind of got into turning wrenches. And then I went full time for Common Grounds. I don't know when that would have been. I started working here in 2010. I think it was a couple of years, 2013 or so, when I started turning wrenches.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, you still look very young. So,
Thanks.
yeah. No offense, but I was thinking, wow, how have you
Not at
been
all.
turning wrenches that long?
No, I've been
Because
working here for 14 years, but not turning
that's
wrenches
awesome.
for the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. That's great.
Yeah,
How did you learn the cutting unit stuff? Was it more hands on with the guy that you
definitely.
were working under?
It was like baptism by fire, just kind of,
Mm-hmm.
there definitely wasn't as much of the technical mind for cutting units then as we're sort of leaning into now. So it was just get it sharpish and make it shear.
Yeah, yeah.
We never discussed paralleling and anything like that until quite recently.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, why, how. It was, I mean, a lot of things I guess I've learned over the years and I kind of knew about, but we didn't necessarily implement them like we do now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I definitely think it's really good where we're at and where we're headed in the industry on cutting unit setup.
Yeah. And we had Bernhardt grinders at that time. So we couldn't really indicate good like the Foley's that we have now. It
Mm-hmm.
was kind of just get a scratch and let her fly. Definitely couldn't do reliefing.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
so it's been incrementally learning over the years, just step by
Mm-hmm.
step.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, I've told a few people this with all this research I've been doing recently. I've learned more in the last 9 or 10 months about cutting units
Yeah.
than I have in my 28-year career, which is,
Same.
is mind blowing. It's crazy how much information there is out there.
Oh
So
boy.
yeah, yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, it's very eye opening. And a lot of the stuff that we were taught over the years was at the time was okay, but times have changed
Right.
and
Right.
cutting units have changed a little bit. And I get it. It's just like saying, well, the internal combustion engine is the exact same thing as it was 100 years
Sort of.
ago. But yeah, so, you still got, it's a 4-stroke, suck, bang,
Yeah.
blow, all those things. But, no carburetors hardly anymore.
Right.
Everything's fuel injected. There's no
Yep.
points and condensers, magnetos, all those things are a thing of the past.
Yep.
So internal combustion has came a long way. And you can say the same thing with cutting units and say, well, this reel was, invented in the 1800s to cut carpet. And, now we're using it to cut grass, but
Is
they
that true?
have,
It was made to cut carp?
yes, yep. It
You're
was,
kidding.
yep, made to cut the nap on carpet
No
in
kidding.
England. Yes.
Oh, I can't wait to lay that fun fact on people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll have to look that up and see exactly when it was created, but sometime in the 1800s. But
Oh,
cutting
love
unit
that.
technology has came a long way, and I don't know what everybody else is doing, but I think Toro has definitely led or is leading the trend to make cutting units better. They
Oh
put a
yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
R&D in their cutting units, and
That whole
but
DPA system.
yeah, and the DPA come out in the
Yeah.
early 2000s. So, I
Right.
mean, that's, 25 years old.
Yeah.
And that was, really pushing the curve back then. Anyway, talking about rambling, there we
We
went.
did it.
Yeah, we did it. But I love getting off topic, sidetrack.
100%.
What is your least favorite part of the job?
I think sort of unfortunately it's probably the most important part of the job, which is setup, making sure everything is so spot on all the time, every day. Maybe it's the monotony of that,
Hmm.
because I think we all sort of like the variety in our job.
Yep.
That's the one monotony thing where I'm just like, but it's got to be done.
Yeah, we used to have that question on the podcast. What is your favorite part of the job? and everybody said the variety. So it's
Oh
like, well,
yeah.
everybody has the same question. So that's not a very interesting question. But we'll pick something else. But
Yeah.
I totally get it. Yeah, it's any of those monotonous chores that we have to do over and over again.
Yep.
Yeah, that
That's
makes it
one
tough.
of those things you can't just glaze over too. You can't just quick it. You got to pay attention.
What's your favorite tool?
Headphones.
Oh, okay.
I
So you can
am
listen
like,
to the Real Turf Techs podcast?
I've listened to 3 episodes today.
Oh, wow. Okay. Are you
I'm
behind or are you double
way
dipping?
behind.
Okay.
Well, I guess way behind. I have been making an attempt to listen to all of them. I'm right now. I just listened to your episode from COVID times with Diana Kern the other day or
Oh, wow.
today.
Okay. Yeah, it's going
Yeah.
way back.
So I'm trying to get through them all. It's
Okay.
been a
Awesome.
while.
No, it's all good. It's all good. No problem at all there. I appreciate you listening, and I love it when listeners are guests too. That's, it's cool. Comes full
Oh
circle.
yeah. Yeah. It is nice, and it's just kind of me and my four walls in here. And I love to have my headphones. And I mean, I'm just like rolling through all my podcasts, yours included,
Okay, cool.
every
That's
day.
awesome. What do you do to relax or find your balance?
So I kind of thought about this one, and I think it's sort of funny because I was going to tell you all of the things that I sort of do aside from work. I have carnivorous plants I have a huge carnivorous plant collection. I kind of garden. I have a CNC business on the side. I like to keep my hands busy. I like to do things and separate my mind. But then I think I started to learn that this is actually where I come to relax. Like I'm so
Oh,
crazy everywhere else doing all my other little side projects.
mm-hmm.
Maybe this is where I find my balance is the cool down period of being at work.
I can see that for sure. Yeah, I definitely find work more relaxing sometimes than I do my personal life.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the CNC. Well, what do you do?
I have a Onefinity CNC. I do a lot of the courses, signage, that sort of thing, T markers,
Okay. Yeah.
those sorts of things. I have started making all of the benches for Bandon Dunes proper. So I had a guy come in from facilities maintenance, say like, hey, some guy tried to drive out your course to get to the beat. We need a maintenance sign that says, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've been doing a lot of lately.
No, that's awesome. That's super
Yeah.
cool.
It's been really fun.
Yeah. So, yeah. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. Yep. I think I was going to say that we bought a CNC machine. I don't know, no, it's been longer than that. Maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And we've been making all our course signs. We're making member bag tags. I mean, I was doing,
Oh,
yeah, all that stuff. Anything. We're just kind of trying to find an excuse to, keep using it. But being able to make the signs is super cool. And we've been using high density urethane, the
like
foam.
color core. Yeah.
No, it's foam. It's just straight foam. And I mean, it's crazy how,
Really?
it's pretty durable. It doesn't rot. It carves about 2 times faster than wood,
Yeah.
which is awesome. It's easy on the bits and all that
I gotta,
stuff. Definitely worth checking into.
I'm writing that
Yeah.
down right now.
Yeah, do it. Yep. High density urethane. We buy it in a 4x8 sheet and it's 1.5 inches thick, just like
Okay.
a 2x4 or something like that would be. And let's see, we paint it. So all our signs, the background is white. So we'll paint it white. And then we put down Aura mask. It's this blue mask, So anyway, you
I
put
got
it
some.
down, then you carve it out, and then peel off the Aura mask and paint the letters. I mean, it turns out
Nice.
great. It's awesome.
I'll definitely have to look into that, because
Yeah.
here on the Oregon coast, it's wet and wet
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Yeah.
If
No,
if we put those signs in the ground, it's touching the ground, it's like game over. They have to have an air gap or
mm-hmm.
it will just rot. So I
Yeah,
love this
it'd definitely
idea.
be worth checking
Looking to do
into
it.
for sure. And I don't remember the cost of the sheets, but I mean, it's nothing crazy.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
I mean, it lasts forever unless, we had a golf ball hit one and it did break, but
right.
it was
Or
right
maybe
off the
that's
tee
not good for
box.
business. Hmm.
Well, yeah, you got to think about that too. You got to think about that. Yeah. What's your biggest challenge to date?
Ooh, you know, that's kind of tough. Biggest challenge. When I started over here at Sheep Ranch, we basically had two Connex boxes with a tarp strung across between them.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, so I had to do setup in a dugout ramp thing I made on the ground, laying in a puddle full of cardboard just to set up my reels for the day. So I would say it was quite challenging to sort of muddle our way through that while we're like watching our beautiful building being built right next to it.
Hmm.
You're like neck deep in mud.
Yeah.
So that was quite challenging, but the reward is fantastic. I mean, this building is great.
So,
I
how long have y'all been in the building?
I think we're Sheep Ranch has only been open. I think we're going on 3 years now.
Okay. Cool though. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
pretty new.
Have a new facility like that and
Yeah, it was
everything.
great. I got to just sort of make it my own and whatever I wanted to, however I wanted to piece it together, I was just sort of afforded that. And it was great. It was a challenge, but it was
Yeah,
great.
yeah. Right. No, that's super cool. So, next question is, what's the strangest thing you've seen at work?
Oh, this is a pretty good one. So when I worked over on trails, this sort of, it's kind of sad when you really think about it, but he had some sort of a psychotic break and thought that he was being followed by black helicopters and minions and the government was tracking him. Somehow got his Honda Element up a footpath that was all made out of wood and crashed it on the deck of Trails End, which is our pro shop for the trails course. So
Wow.
we had to have this poor guy having a total come apart, trying to run from us and the whole bit. Like, oh,
Yeah.
that was probably the craziest thing I've seen.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate too,
Yeah.
because mental health is really important to us here at Real
Uh,
Turf Techs, and that stuff can happen.
and I'm just about tinfoil hat enough that I wanted to believe him. Like, where?
Oh, right. Yeah. Yep.
I was on his side.
Do you have a mentor in the industry?
Oh, well, I mean, like most people answered, that's sort of a multitude of people.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep. And I think
Jeff
that's a very good
Sutherland was
answer.
the first person to give me a chance. He's the superintendent for Pacific Dunes. He definitely has kind of a paternal kind of aspect to him. He just feels like a guy that like actually kind of cares. Fred Yates, he's now our new head of agronomy. He was the first person to sort of tell me that like how important the equipment managers are, which
Okay.
at
Yep.
the time I kind of thought he was blowing smoke up my ass, but he wasn't. He was actually being like sincere. The Ron Wagner, the guy that told me that to just give this guy a call. I mean, he set me on the path to begin with. I mean,
Yep.
he was the guy that set me down the track of going to welding school instead of getting into tech like everybody I went to high school with did. And,
It's good stuff.
Eric Langford is introduced me to GCSAA and to you and the programs and kind of showed me that there is a larger world than just band and dunes. And
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
We had no
no.
idea. So I really thank him for showing me that.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people out there that have no idea the resources that are available to technicians. And not that we have a ton of resources, but there are resources that people have never heard of. So
No.
this year in Phoenix, was that your first time?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
awesome.
That was really cool. And I gotta say, that was the first time meeting you and I just got to kind of BSing with Hector. I have no idea who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And you both were like, I mean, I talked to Hector for like an hour about his family, and he gave me this really cool thing of beard oil. He was so nice. Some guy came up and wanted to take a selfie with him. I'm like, who am I talking to? Because
Right.
everyone was so welcoming. It was
Yeah,
like,
that's cool.
it was really
Yep.
neat. Yeah.
No, it is a really good industry, and for the most part, we're pretty tight niche too. Group, which I think a lot of people enjoy. I know that's one of my favorite things about it
Right.
for sure. Yeah, I'm so glad you got to show this year. So, how did you get to show for the first time? Was it-
That would have been Eric Langford. He was the one, he's now the superintendent for Old Mac. And, he kind of showed me the way that, hey, there's this show, and it would sort of appear like the classes for EMs has really been on the rise in the last couple of years. And it's like, I think it's time someone, from the wrench side should start going to these things. And like,
Awesome.
absolutely. Like,
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
always down for that,
Yeah,
so he
that's
really kind of pushed me into it.
yeah, more the merrier for sure. And every year it seems like, I mean, every year there's definitely more technicians that come. How many more? I don't know. I heard last year we had around 175 in attendance, which I think was the most to date.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in San Diego. San Diego's usually not as well attended as Orlando is usually the best attended
Really?
because there's more people on the East Coast and
Oh,
it's really cheap for them to get down there. And
gotcha.
housing is really cheap in Orlando. Like a lot of clubs, they'll rent a house and have 10 people staying at a house. And, it's $1,000 for a week or something for 10
Oh,
people.
right, right.
So it's, yeah, dirt cheap to stay down
Well,
there.
it sounds like the consensus I've been hearing on the podcast, though, is that everyone loves San Diego if they can
Oh,
get to.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. San Diego is awesome. And
Yeah. Well,
it's definitely my favorite spot for sure. But it's because of San Diego and the weather. A convention center is a convention center. The
yeah.
other really nice thing is all the places to eat that were within walking distance of the convention center in
Oh,
San
nice.
Diego, which is super nice too. There's one thing, Phoenix wasn't terrible, but there wasn't a ton of places to
No.
eat. And there's so many people there, attending the show that everybody wants to eat at the same time and there's no place
Uh,
to eat.
I always wondered if those restaurants around there were just going, what in the hell just happened? Just all of a
Hmm.
sudden, they're just full of us.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't even know what hit them.
Nope. Had no idea. What would be your dream job or opportunity?
Well, that's kind of a weird one I thought of because, like I said, this is pretty much the only job I've ever had. So I don't even really necessarily know what else might be better or worse. I mean, I think I've got it pretty good kind of where I'm at. Of course, maybe I think I'd like to see something different. I'd
Yep.
like to kind of experience some different scenery, but as far as the pace and the flow around here, as far as dream job, I don't know how you could beat it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that. I remember Bob Smith that's in the witness protection program. We give him a hard time because of
Gotta
Bob
be.
Smith,
Has to be.
but he wanted his dream job was to own an NFL team.
Ah.
So, you can dream big. You can dream big. Well,
So I
whatever.
could dream to retire.
Yeah. You could dream to have the ultimate CNC sign
Uh-huh.
business or something. I mean, it could be anything.
Well, yeah. I mean, I suppose if it wasn't in this industry, no, I guess I don't know. I suppose
Uh,
is the answer.
that's that's all good, man. Yeah. We won't take any points off if you
There's no
don't know the
test.
answer. Yeah, no test. What technician would you like to work with for a day?
Who I think I really got to get a load of is J.R. Wilson.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
he seems like a guy who I don't know. He's got this kind of, it's like he figured out how to do drugs and do it right. You know, it's like he's got it
Yeah.
all figured out in my mind. I don't know. Maybe I've got a figment of his imagination in my mind, but he seems like he could do almost anything.
I believe JR can do anything.
Anything.
And I'm not
Legend.
saying that just because I consider him a good friend, but it's amazing what he does up there. And I was lucky enough to spend a couple days at his shop with him. And, he makes his own sub air systems, including the fiberglass cover lid that goes over it. I mean, he's doing all that. And
Yeah, I
the,
think he said he was forging, or was that you? Or he was,
no, he's, forging tines and heat
yeah,
treating them for
incredible.
one of their air fires. I mean, just so, some of the craziest stuff. And he has like a 2-story setup in his shop. And we go upstairs and I see a bench grinder on a drill press. And I'm like, what is this for?
Okay.
And he's sharpening stump grinder teeth. The green teeth are
Oh,
round. So you put it in the drill press or in the chuck and you turn it slow, RPM, and you bring it down to the stone and sharpen the stump grinder teeth. And,
that's but
you
I
know,
just did the same thing
like,
with
this
our
is
5/8
crazy.
tines. But I chucked in a little 4-inch grinder, put it at a 45-degree angle, and put the tines down to it. I was doing the
Okay.
same thing just 2 weeks
Huh.
ago.
Wow. You're
Yeah.
going to have to start putting pictures out there.
Yeah. Well, it was
Give
kind
away
of
your
one of
trade
those things.
secrets.
I wanted to put the picture up and I was like, but that just doesn't quite look OSHA compliant.
Well, honestly, most of the stuff we do, I shouldn't
Uh,
say most, but there is quite a few things that are not, is not OSHA friendly for sure that happens around the golf course. What do you know now you wish you'd known on day one?
I think I would have liked to have known, just truly being like not a golfer, truly knowing like how large the industry is. It felt
Mm-hmm.
very kind of isolationist here that it's just didn't even know about GCSAA, didn't even know about the EM program. But I mean, it's sort of relatively new, I suppose, but it would have been kind of nice to know sooner that there was a career path and that it's not just,
Mm-hmm.
kind of a dead end job.
Yeah.
It would have been really cool to know.
And hopefully we all do a better job of spreading the word.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons for the podcast here. Spread the word. And GCSA is doing good stuff too. But we all
Yeah.
just have to keep spreading the word.
Well,
And
I
I think
mean,
a lot of it happens word of mouth.
oh yeah. I mean, when I started in on the program, went through my AMCP, that sort of stuff. And then I started kind of telling all, cause every course here has its own mechanic, common grounds, assistants, fleet mechanics. And then I started telling those guys, like, this is what I'm doing. And that now they're all GCSA members and they're all kind of working
Nice.
through their EMCP. I've got another mechanic coming to show this year where it was just me the first time. And now I got another one. And so you're
Mm-hmm.
right. I think it's growing.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, I've heard other people say when they're getting a local technician group started, the first time they'll have 3 people there. And the next time they have 15. And the next time they got 25. And the next time they got 50. And then 75. And then 100. I mean, it starts
Yeah.
really growing. And it's really exciting because, just off the top of my head, I could probably name 10 states that are starting an equipment manager local program
Uh,
within the state and getting technicians together a couple times a year or more. It all depends on your area and all that kind of stuff. But like you're saying at your place, that would be great opportunity to do
yeah. I
something
mean,
like
we could
that.
have a party just on this resort.
Right.
If we can get some other people from Oregon, it could be quite the turnout almost immediately.
Yeah.
If there
Super
isn't
cool.
one already, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I hadn't heard, obviously I'm on the East Coast, so maybe that's why I don't hear anything happening on the West Coast.
Yeah, it doesn't
But
seem
I
like
don't know. I don't know what's happening over there.
I don't either.
Um, so you'll have to keep me posted. Let me know. How's it
I
going
do.
out
I
there?
do need to look into the OG CSA
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
See if they're doing anything. Because that's another thing that a lot of associations or local chapters are doing is they're appointing an equipment manager to be a liaison to the board to
mm,
help advise their local board of kind of education type stuff.
okay.
And we done that here in Georgia a long time ago. We're not technically liaisons, but we have an educational committee, and they put a couple of us equipment managers on the educational committee. And we've been doing the education for technicians for, I don't, over 10 years now, which
Oh,
is
great.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because before that, it was, the superintendents were always struggling to come up with ideas like, what do these technicians want to learn this year? And, so what,
Because how
I mean,
could they know?
well, right, they don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, just like me or you trying to figure out what a superintendent wants to learn about. I have no idea,
No idea.
bugs, grass, I don't know.
Something like it.
Yeah,
I think they
something
cut
like that.
grass.
Get ready for tips and tricks. What kind of tips and tricks you got you want to share with us?
Well, apparently putting your angle grinder at a 45 and your drill press is a good one.
Yeah,
The
there you
sharpened
go.
tine. But
So
what?
tell me why, let's back up. Why were
Okay.
you sharpening tines?
So we were getting from JRM were just sort of cut at a 45. And when they were sort of entering the turf, they were sort of making a bit of a smiley face kind of shape and just sort of reclosing because of the sort of needle type shape. It was just so surgical. It was just leaving a nice split and not leaving it open. And our goal was to fill that hole with as much sand as humanly possible. So we took one set of those and ground it more to a bullet point, and it was just leaving a giant hole, gaping hole that was exactly what we needed, which was like, well, that's it. Now I have to do all of it. So it kind of
Oh,
started
yeah,
out
yeah.
with just
Right.
trying
Right,
to
right,
do
right.
that by hand at the bench grinder. And I was like, wait a minute, I got to come up with something. Just give me a minute. So that's why, it's because we just needed that hole to stay open, and it won't.
Oh, that's awesome. That's, good stuff.
Yeah.
I would have never thought.
Yeah. I didn't really think so either, because we've been running those JRM tines just with the cut in them for years. Then up until recently, it was never an issue. And then all of a sudden they just started closing up. I don't know, some sort of turf conditions. It was too wet, too soft, yada, yada, yada. I don't know, but you had to make something happen, and we made it happen.
Good deal. Yeah. So what kind of tips and tricks?
Like, disdain for wiring being like external and visible. So I always want to route things like through the frame if at all possible. So one of the tricks that came up with doing that, taking a section of like a aluminum, or is that like aluminum cable, steel cable, and on the end, I just melted some heat shrink just so the end wouldn't fray. And you chuck it up in a drill and just spin that thing up there, and it will find its way almost anywhere you want to go with that thing spinning in there.
Hmm.
Tie off your electrical, whatever you want to do, and pull it all back through nice and neat. You can.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never thought about that.
And I also found out that you could use a similar trick when you're putting, like, we have Dakota top dressers, or I'm sure it doesn't matter, where there's like a joining section in those belts. If you take that rod that goes in that joining section, or sometimes it's cable, if you chuck that up in a drill, it'll just fly right in there.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to I got to try this. Got to try that.
And then I think the second trick, which
I've definitely said choice words trying to get that wire back in the belt.
yeah,
For
exactly.
sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just my laziness that comes up with this stuff, but
Hey, smarter, not harder is the old saying. I'm for it.
I'm not exactly a big guy, so I can't just hoof it in there. Second trick, though, is for finding a hole in a tire. Instead of doing the soapy water in an old squeegee spray bottle, I went and got myself one of those little half-gallon pesticide sprayers that you could pump up real good and just whole tire all at once. And it makes it so much faster, so much easier. You don't have to burn up your wrist trying to spray this thing down.
Mm-hmm.
Very efficient.
No, yeah, that is a really good idea. And you probably already got some of those floating around the shop somewhere for the
Oh yeah.
listeners. I mean,
Yep.
if not, they're everywhere. You can go to Home Depot or Lowe's or any one of the above.
Yep.
No, that's a good one. I really like that one. Well, what else you got you want to talk about?
I don't know. What would be, is there a suggestion or like
Ha-
something that
yeah,
typically
I got,
someone would?
no, I got a suggestion. I want you to talk about how you're going to start your local technician thing in Oregon. No, that's really
Well,
putting you on the spot. How about this? How about we talk about how you could do that if you wanted to?
well,
And I'll help you with some ideas.
and just seeing if it ain't already happening.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that'd be a pretty good first step.
Do
But
you know
locally,
any board members or your
no,
executive director or anything?
not for any local associations. No,
Yeah.
haven't a clue.
Well, somebody in y'all's operation probably does, I would think.
Probably
Yeah.
that
So you can get a phone number or an
that could
email
definitely
or
be found
something.
out.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I think there's a local distributor, Turf Star Western, will kind of put on some classes here and there. I don't know if it doesn't seem like it has a really large turnout, but that might be just because of maybe that's more Toro specific or something. I don't know
Mm,
why.
so the Toro distributor that I use, that I have to use because Toro and that distributor tells me I have to use them
Oh,
because of where I live in the country. But that's a whole nother topic for another day. They have one once a year, and yeah, it's all Toro related, which is fine.
yep,
And I try to go, or if I don't go, I at least send my guys to it, and
right.
just for the networking. If you don't care about Toro or learning, go for the free lunch and to talk to other technicians.
Yep.
I would recommend that all day long.
Yeah, I definitely try to, if there's anything that pops up like that, I kind of let any of the other guys go, especially any of the new guys, just go get the little class local here or whatever, because some people they're kind of not super interested in going to show and it's just maybe a little too
Oh
much for
yeah,
them,
yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So it's like, I'm afforded all this other great education, you guys go do the local one. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to
No.
get it from them exactly. Maybe they've made some connections locally in the Oregon area.
Yeah. How many technicians do y'all have in your group?
Well, let's see. Bandon, Pacific,
Yeah.
Trails, Shorties, Common Grounds, Fleet, Sheep Ranch, Calf. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, Old Mac. So it's 9.
9. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, y'all could do y'all's own thing there.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Knock it out, man. Line it up. Fridays out, Friday afternoons or, whatever your light day is. Everybody can grab a bite or something. And
Yeah,
you're
we
right.
really
There's some technicians and mechanics that are not into that. They could care
no,
less.
no.
I just want to get their check and go home, and hey, that's
Yeah.
fine too.
Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
do want a little bit more, there's more out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. More for me.
Well, you want to do some rapid fire?
Okay.
What's your favorite movie?
I think I'd have to go either Inglorious Bastards or Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Huge World War II collection. I'm a big World War II guy.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think it's
That's
got to be one of those.
Yeah. Both classics. What would be your last meal?
I think this one has already been said once, but Taco Bell.
It has been said.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because
it
I
has.
could do the steak and potatoes any day. I guess I'm fortunate enough that I could do that anytime, but that Taco Bell is the one fast food joint I will go to ever, and it's just my little guilty pleasure.
Hey, nothing wrong with it. No shame here. Yeah, no shame at all. Do y'all have a lot of Taco Bells there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Okay.
one about a half hour away.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right.
when we go to the big city of like, I don't even know, it's probably the smallest city compared to most people.
Yeah. That's funny. What are you most proud of besides your family?
This was kind of a funny one. I was asking my buddy about this because I'm not exactly the most like, I think I've been described as like arrogant or cocky, but fried is a strange one for me. But after talking with him about it, what I had come to the conclusion is that in my childhood really wasn't like I could have easily fallen into assisted, all the Section 8 and food stamps and drugs and just getting into that sort of world. And
Mm-hmm.
I just made a decision right then and there that I was going to be a self-sufficient man and kind of cut my own path. And so I'm pretty proud that I didn't take the easy route. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. No, for sure. And yeah, if you can't be proud of that, what can you be proud of?
Right.
That is awesome because it is so hard to do what you're doing
Yeah.
versus, like you say, I don't want to call it the easy route, but it's definitely a route that is a lot easier to fall into
Right.
and go that direction. And then once you're in, how do you get out? Yeah.
And it
And all these people struggle with that. I mean, I don't
and
know
it
how
was
many
almost
people I
kind of
know.
kind of weird. I was almost like kind of belittled amongst my quote unquote peers because it was like, well, you just think you're better than us. And that I was like, well, I don't know, maybe I am. Hard to say it, but I'm not doing whatever this is.
Yeah.
It can be
But
done.
yeah. And yes, yeah. I think it definitely easier said than done to
Oh
say,
boy.
I'm out. Cause yeah, how easy is it to say, what the hell? It's just
I know.
one,
Yeah, right.
whatever it is. Yeah, it's just one. Yeah,
Politics.
right. That's how it gets you for sure. Yeah. That's good stuff, man. I'm proud of you. That's
Well,
super
thank
good.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's very good. And you don't have to be cocky. You can be confident. Yeah, I like
Sure.
that word better.
I like that
I like,
better. That sounds
yeah,
better.
yeah, it sounds better. Confident. Well, tell the listeners how they can get a hold of your confident self.
And well, has anyone just dropped a cell phone number on here? Can I just do that?
I would
Not
prefer
advised.
not. Yeah, I would
Okay.
prefer not. I mean, I don't know, it's probably fine, but yeah, I would not put a cell phone number. Are you on any of the social sites?
I mean, not really. I like just got an X the other day. I'm really not active on there. I
That's
have a
fine.
Facebook. I'm not active on there.
What?
WhatsApp group. I think most of us are on there. So definitely
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah, I think that would be a good way for anybody that's
or
listening.
I can
Get on
give you my
WhatsApp.
work email. My work email is srmechanic@bandondunesgolf.com.
Very good. That's awesome.
We
Yeah.
can
A lot
use
of people
that.
give emails. Yeah. No, that's good. And if you're thinking about the WhatsApp group, just reach out to me or anybody else that's in it and we'll get you in there because
Yeah.
it is a really good resource
That
for
is
technicians.
hands down probably one of the biggest leaps at kind of getting into this whole thing is getting involved in GCSA, going to this show, meeting you, having that tool has been like, I mean, it's like the most useful thing. I mean, I almost said that's my favorite tool. It's my damn phone,
Yeah. And we have had people say that for sure. But yeah,
because
the
of that.
WhatsApp, yeah, it's such a great resource.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so depending on your personality, there's a lot of people that are in the group that never asked a question, that
No.
never say a thing, and that's totally fine too. So
Yep.
if that's you and you want to see what everybody else is doing, I mean, not that you're trying to keep up with anybody, but just seeing how other people are solving problems sometimes is really helpful. And if you
Yeah.
don't feel comfortable asking a question, that's okay.
Or definitely don't do it publicly. Reach out to me, reach out to you in
Yeah, right. Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
singular form. Yeah.
And I don't know how much of that is going on, but I know there is a good bit of that going on. If we're
Yeah.
talking about whatever in the main group, I know there's side techs going on all the time. And I mean, that's great. I
Yeah.
think it's awesome.
Because I
Yeah.
got into this industry not knowing how to turn a single wrench. I mean, I'm a welder by trade.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I've made all the stupid mistakes, and I'll tell you how not to make those mistakes. Reach
But
out. Yeah.
on the other hand, there's a lot of us that are in the industry that are not welders. But if we were welding something, you could probably help us a lot.
You bet.
And
Yeah.
there's a lot of people in the group. I mean, that's the great thing about the group is we all have kind of our specialties or something that we are good at.
Yeah.
That somebody else isn't. And that's okay. That's what makes a group so great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, I can't thank you enough for being on. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. And I look forward to seeing you in San Diego.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm excited. I can't wait to meet all you guys again. Really appreciate you having me on. Again, I really love the WhatsApp group. That's been indispensable. And I hear in San Diego, the one thing to go find is some Kansas City barbecue. Don't know what that means, but we're going to have to go find out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you keep me posted on that because I've had a lot of Kansas City barbecue and it's never been in San Diego.
Seems kind of funny, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah. All
Yeah.
the Kansas City barbecue I had was in Kansas City.
Maybe this won't be so good for you.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm interested. I'm intrigued for sure.
Well, I can't wait to see everybody there and build the connections even better.
Sounds good. We'll see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Trent.
Thank you so much for listening to the Real Turf Techs podcast. I hope you learned something today. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any topics you would like to discuss or you'd like to be a guest, find us on Twitter at Real Turf Techs. See you bye.